is all right. The delay is showing it. Let's go ahead and mute this. It's Wednesday. It's time for Milky Way. I'm actually live. Hey, everybody. Looking over at the chat. Let's see where the chat's at right here. And IMAX screen. Not that. Let's look at the chat. And we've got people in here already. The people who have been with me this entire time. And that's why I'm doing live tonight, is to thank you guys. Which seems funny because I really like the quality of pre-recorded videos, and so doing this as a thank you to you almost seems like it's a funny way of thanking, but I'm stoked to be able to just talk directly and say, hey, Teresa Rice, you're right here. Awesome. So glad to be retired too. Steve Thompson's in here. Zarada LaGrange, Rhonda Pierce. Who else was in here earlier? Let me look at all the other comments. I know Kirk is driving, and then Drake's in here. I hope final refers to this year only. Drake, yes. Yes, you are very astute. It's possible that it means next year too. But here's the thing. Milky Way Wednesday has been a weekly adventure of talking to you guys and teaching Milky Way stuff. And the realities for what it means for my YouTube channel is really unfortunate. And so let me just be completely honest with you guys who are here live right now. And Jeff Lowitz joining us tonight. And actually, I'm going to read Jeff's question here in a bit. Awesome. So let's just say it right now, since Drake brought it up. We are going to have a Milky Way season end for 2019. And it's over. It's over. Oh, man. The new moon on the 26th will be the last time. And right after the new moon, that moon is up longer at night. So it's going to eat into or eat through all of your minutes, mere minutes of Milky Way. And so, yeah. You know what? This audio is coming through too much. There's a ring because I want you to be able to hear my screen, and the cable that I have for some reason just has a bit of a ring, and so I got to fix some things. But the Milky Way, being the fact that the moon is going to be up longer, means that every day after the new moon is worse than every day before the new moon. So the nights before the new moon on the 26th, you go out on the 19th, 20th, 21st, you're probably going to have a better opportunity because the moon is going to be up, but it's going to already have set. And since it's rising, about midnight or something, even though that would typically eat into your Milky Way, in this situation, because the moon is out of the way right after sunset, it's out of the way while the core is visible. And so this is your final Milky Way core opportunity. But as you guys know, it's not the final opportunity for any Milky Way. In fact, as casual Milky Way Fridays go, or Milky Way Wednesdays go, I pull up things as I think about them. And so I'm going to pull up a picture and show you guys a January Milky Way that I got that I loved. I thought it was pretty fun. And this edit is actually done entirely through, I think it might have been entirely Seeds. What's that app called? It's not Instagram's edit. It was Snapseed. Snapseed, yeah. And so since it's almost entirely Snapseed's edit, it's got a little bit different edit than normal, but it looks pretty awesome. And I think the best way for me to find it is to go into our Instagram folder. So as I'm talking about coming up, Drake is right. There's a chance that by the time next season begins, February, think of season 3 of Milky Way Wednesday, season 3 of Photog Adventures is coming to a close. And, there's going to be holidays. We're all going to be busy. I'm going to be busy. I'm finishing a divorce. And so there's a lot of things to be busy about. We are going to take a break from Milky Way Wednesday. We're going to take a break from it, and I'm going to put out some other videos that I still have on the docket, like you probably already noticed right here. I'm working on this one, and those of you familiar with my work on the Great Milky Way Chase of 2018, this is Night 17. Night 17 is existing, it's just so short, I have to add some stuff to it. And so I'm going to be putting that out soon with night 18 and the rest of all 24 nights that I went straight out. And so this kind of content is going to come out, but Milky Way Wednesday will not. So if you're hanging out with me right now, Milky Way Wednesday is not. Snapseed is the only thing I use, is what Jeff says. This is one of the fun things about doing it live, and also one of the negative things. Some of you have made comments, and some close friends to me have said, hey, when you mention someone's comment just out of nowhere, it derailed you. But in my perspective, it's kind of like we're all at a dinner table, and when Jeff says, hey, Snapseed's the only thing I use, I go, yeah, do you? I love Snapseed. It works fantastic, and it's a nice shortcut for people who don't want to spend hours doing processing. Jeffrey Diener says, started Milky Way photography on the East Coast a month and a half ago. I can't wait until March. Oh my gosh, Jeff. Jeff, you're going to enjoy the East Coast because you have that beach looking out over a black sky. Yeah, you don't look at a light pollution map and feel proud, but you can go to the beach and capture very clear, very awesome Milky Way shots. And so, yes, March, don't even wait for March. Start in February, because you're going to have really cool, very parallel Milky Way with the terrain, and it's going to be fantastic. So, as tangents go, and Aaron King is prone to tangents, and actually, honestly, let's just be real, people. I'm more prone to tangents right now than usual, as I get spread, and 2019 was quite a year, and it spread my energies out in all sorts of directions. If you followed me on the Facebook Lives, I talked about the behind the business of Photog Adventures and talked about some of my stresses, my, mistakes, my things like quality that have slipped. Oh, it's not helping me focus, and I want to focus. And so it's going to be great to be able to take these next few months off and get ready and come back with season 4 of Photog Adventures, Milky Way Wednesday, Milky Way photography, Milky Way videos then. And I was telling Drake that it's a possibility that Milky Way Wednesday in its exact form will be different. And the reason why it's going to be different is because YouTube just doesn't love it. YouTube doesn't love Milky Way Wednesday. And I have 30, 40 of you. Let's see, right now, how many are joined? 33 are hanging out with me right now. And I love you, 33. But I am starting to sink the ship that is Photog Adventures YouTube channel because of Milky Way Wednesday and other things. And so I need to up my game, up my content, make sure each video is nice and quality, and avoid comments like, man, is this guy a long-winded bast? And it's like, well, he didn't realize that he came to a TV show where I hang out with you guys almost casually and talk Milky Way photography, teach a lesson, share an image that that have an awesome Milky Way shot out there, and I critique it and stuff. And so it's kind of a show with segments and fun. It's not what he expected, though, when he read the YouTube title of, here's the 2 things that you need for Milky Way photography. And he's like, oh, man, well, where's he going with this? Why haven't we started snapping through all of the tips? And so I do need to fix that identity crisis of what YouTube expects, what people who see my titles expect, and what I'm going to deliver, which is another reason why I'm going live tonight, so I can be candid and just hang out with you guys and talk about it. But, man, Instagram folder, Aaron, where is it? There's the Mary Beth folder. She's been helping me with Instagram, and so I have it here. And this isn't the right one. This isn't the one that we gave Mary Beth. It's called a Mega Rally. No, it wasn't Mega Rally. Maybe it was the Mary Beth folder. Mary Beth, I see that you're in here, though. I see Dodge Shadow Chick talking, and Ty said something that was a good point. I want to bring it out. Shoot the northern skies. This is a good time to work on your low-level lighting, so when the season starts again in March, you're ready to get the shots. Yes, the Milky Way exists the entire year. The Milky Way Core, depending on your location, it's gone entirely in November and January. Some people have a chance to see it some. Most people have a chance, honestly, to see it some in November and some in January, but it's really gone everywhere in December. And so the only ones who see the Milky Way Core, I suspect, are those astronauts in the International Space Station. But dang, I wish they'd take more pictures of it. Maybe because they're moving, they don't do it. I'd love to see some more photography of that. A lot of cool photography and time lapses of Earth, but just to see the Milky Way Core, and when they ever get a good view, if they get a good view, that would be terrific. Terrific. Okay. I'm not seeing it on here. I wonder if I have it anywhere easier. So Aaron King's picks 2018. Yes. All right. This is what we're talking about doing northern Milky Way stuff. And honestly, you can't recreate this anymore because they've completely banned this kind of lighting in Arches National Park. But this is double window arch or double arch, and this was so cool to do. And the glow, the cool rocks, and just seeing Andromeda over here. Really neat stars on this end. It still looks amazing. The sea of stars. Yes, Roger Clark. I have a blue sky. But that's my artistic take on it. So don't listen to me. Don't take my word for it. Enjoy your own artistic take of the Milky Way. So yes, get out there in December and January. Still capture some cool stuff. You absolutely can. All right, tangents over. This audio is not going to be great, but it's going to be something. And I want you guys to at least see a preview of it where it's at right now because why? It's fun. You know what? I should hit Shift Render real quick so that it has a high quality playthrough. So this is coming from June of 2018. If you don't know what the Great Milky Way Chase was, it's something that I'm envious that we didn't start with Photog Adventures. Great job, Tracy Lee. I should just steal it and do it too because it's a fun contest and encouragement of getting people out for 23 straight nights of Milky Way. Basically, once a year, we have a chance where it matches up really well for us to have 23 straight nights where you see the Milky Way without any twilight periods and without the moon. So you have at least minutes to, an hour or more of nice, clear, clean, clear Milky Way screen. I'll go on the cam. I'll see the chat over here. Let's talk to these guys. Got the best shots of my life in Berlin, Nevada. Last pictures on the website. Okay, we got to check that out. I'm actually going to show Jeff's website when we're talking about his email. Keith wanted to say, Aaron, I talked to a photographer we both like about that editing technique we chatted about. They seem to like it. Hope you get a chance to try it out. Yes. I am not editing a lot right now as I'm just battling with everything going on in my life. I haven't sat down and taken more time to edit, but that's what I've been telling you guys on Photog Adventures podcast for 2 years. So I'm going to make a change with that. So it'll be fun taking the time away from Milky Way Wednesday and other projects that I'm working on and applying it more to my writing the ebook, getting out the rest of other course content that I want, and editing my images. Yes, and Kirk was at that double arch that night. He was. He should process his shots. Mary Beth says, yes, you should. Yes, you should, Kirk. Absolutely. Teresa Rice says, we never have 23 straight nights of clear skies. Yeah, that, Mary Beth discovered it this year. I discovered it then. It is very surprising how it's possible. I only ever really came up with a few nights that were bad. Everything else turned out pretty amazing. In fact, as this video preview is still going, I am going to tangentially jump over to my Instagram and show you guys the images from the 23 straight nights, those who aren't familiar. And did I only do it on Photog Adventures? I think I did. I don't think I ever updated Astrophotog. So let's just go to Photog Adventures and jump over there. Bum, 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 bum. All right, scrolling down. Oh, man, that made me so mad. You guys ever been to an airport and you see these? It is frustrating.
I'm at a gas station just getting
this
gas
is finished. Let me come back to that in a second. So, yeah, they had a plug. A sticker that looked like a plug just so that you would run up to it, get excited, and say, I found one, and get dejected and sad. So you can see here's a screen of my shots. So starting off with this one, here is night 1 at the silo, night 2 at the salt flats, night 3 at the train trestle, night 4 at Little Sahara here, night 5 really because of clouds and the way they were hitting the valley, we had to go through the canyon and go on the other side and find something new that I've never done before over near a place called Fifth Water Hot Springs, and this turned out to be pretty fun and close. It was very tight with the clouds. Here we did another night where I had to go through that canyon to avoid the clouds and got starlight trails, trails of my car lights, and it was fun because I had it on time lapse, and all I did was make sure no one's coming. And then I would just turn that one little corner with only my low beams on for fog lights. Nothing highlights, no white lights, just the fog lights on this truck that I rented. And it turned out perfectly. I just drove really slow, boom, and then turned around and did it again. So those brake lights, and it looks cool. Then we went to Fantasy Canyon. I say we because this was joined by Brendan this time. We went to Fantasy Canyon, fought the light pollution nightmare that is the weird stuff close by, and captured night 7 out there, night 8 in a rural area near my parents on a way to Escalante, and here's the Escalante, rock train coming through, and the Milky Way pano above it. So those were my first 9 nights, and I did this for 23 straight. And you can see Milky Way in all these images. Milky Way, Milky Way, Milky Way, Milky Way, Milky Way, Milky Way, Milky Way. Oh, clouds. I didn't get a clouded out night that I couldn't make it work until night 18. And it was sheer sleepiness and tiredness that made it so hard. In fact, I nearly died that night because I found myself on the other side of the road having woken up at the wheel. Yes, I woke up at the wheel. I didn't go, oh man, I'm getting tired. I'm like this. Hey, how's it going? Whoa, I'm on this side of the road. Luckily, it was 3 a.m. in a rural road with nothing there but a farm fence that I was about to hit. And so I was like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm pushing it to the limit. I have to stop. And, as much as I call this a tangent, it's right on par with what I wanted to do, to talk about the success of the year and the fun of the year. But let's get going. Aaron King with bad audio, talking to you about night 17. And play.
This is why I have to go far away. I'm at a gas station just getting gas on the way out. And, man, the cloud cover here is pretty solid.
The music is going to have some weird scratchiness.
Night 17, and just like night 16, we have cloud issues, and so check out this video I recorded just a little bit ago.
Checking all the locations around that have a lot of
this
clouds.
audio is really not updated yet. I need to fix it.
Clouds. Well, I found it at the Wedge Overlook. The area I'm thinking is just off the Wedge Overlook.
So I'm going to talk in a kind of a monotone voice because it's so early in the morning, but I'm looking at the clear dark sky charts and seeing, oh wow, okay, Wedge Overlook has a good signal, but it's happened to me before where I went in 2017. Everywhere else was clouded. Wedge Overlook showed clear, and it's just almost like the data there was more out of date than anything else. And so driving the 2 hours to get there might not have been worth it. But let's continue.
Overlook down Buckhorn Wash, I think it's called. And Buckhorn
It
Wash
is called
down
Buckhorn
has a
Wash,
great
Aaron.
opportunity.
And I'm skipping myself because I explained that really quick. Here's the clouds.
Based on the current clouds, 4 o'clock until 6:46.
Look how that can be.
Have been clear right in this area, just like the predictions over on Clear Dark Sky said.
So it could have been an island of openness. It could have worked.
Going to the Wedge Overlook, 2.5 hours tonight. Take a shot, 2.5 hours back. That's pretty doable. And then I'll sleep in the morning and get to work. So night 17, here we go.
Okay, and this is a clip coming from this that I recorded because I need some more action in this. And so here we go. I think I copied it. Oh, you fool, Aaron. You have it hidden, buried in these adventure videos. So you guys can go through my folder structure. Nope, not Milky Way Wednesday. The Great Milky Way Chase. The Great Milky Way Chase. Right there. And night 17. Night 17. Night 17. I'm going to turn the audio down because there's no audio for this. And that'll help with the wailing of what's going on. But full path. This is what I traveled. I fueled up here, went down to Spanish Fork Canyon, and continued on. And this is what it's going to look like when I include this footage in the video. And go. So here's the gas station that I'm talking at. I'm sitting in the truck right here talking to people, and then, okay, I'm going to drive from here and go to the Wedge. And this is what Utah looks like. You're driving from the south, hitting Spanish Fork Canyon, and it hangs here for a sec, and then goes a little more south as it goes through the canyon, connects with Price down here at the bottom of the screen. From Price, that's where you are going to go in either to Moab through Wellington and go down to Moab over there by Green River, or you can go down the other direction to hit I-70 and go for Richfield, or you can go straight south through Cleveland and then wiggle your way through this dirt path that honestly, you don't think that this great little Grand Canyon, this forgotten Grand Canyon of Utah, is out here. You drive on a flat terrain, you don't see it because you're kind of lifting up as you go, and then suddenly you start seeing that, oh man, within the last 4 seconds of the drive almost, you finally see the cliff edge, and boom, here it is. This is a cool canyon called the Wedge Overlook. Well, there's an overlook of the Wedge Canyon, and this Buckhorn Wash Drive took me right to these buttes, and they are cool. They don't get the cool shape in the Google map here in a second, but you can see why I loved it. It looks right down the southeastern corridor. That is our favorite northern hemisphere corridor, isn't it? Southeastern. Between that quadrant of east and south, you got your Milky Way opportunity. And so, from here, I captured this. And that means Aaron, close this window and zip over to the video. Okay. And I had a little gap because I'm adding that video in. Okay, here's Aaron putting on his, getting his gear. Look at him go. Okay, he's out of the truck. Here we are. I made it. And it wasn't that bad of a drive, honestly. Not too shabby. Look, wearing the Kurt Kai's formal summer wear. Basically, it amounts to having an underwear. This is the Kurt Kai summer wear, and Kirk is with us today. He showed me this beauty. If you drive and you're uncomfortable ever, and you're thinking, I don't want to be too hot in the car, put on just these tights, the Under Armour tights, like long johns, but they make them more synthetic now and stretchy. They look like yoga pants. You put them on, and because you don't want to show your form-fitting front and back, you go ahead and wear some shorts over that. And what's turned out to be a temporary while I get to my location, I keep getting out of the truck and just staying in it because it's so comfortable. The Under Armour, tight that goes under shorts. Typically, the shorts are just for me to travel in. Oh, I just said the same thing. I put on my pants. This is called Swinging Bridge South Campground, so that's where I am tonight. Sorry for the ringing. Just up here, you can't see it. It does suck that I can't do more of these in the daytime, but you can see up here, there's cool feature rock, the kind of chimney rock look, very southwestern look that you all expect. And then it has the Milky Way coming right off the top of it. So I'm right now hurrying to get a shot, then I'll tell you about it. Got some flat terrain right here. Easy going, nothing obstructing my view of the buttes. And so I'm seeing the Milky Way right on top of that one on the far right. And so that is great timing. I was disappointed that I was not gonna have it over there, but man, on top of that right there in the butte is pretty fantastic. So I'm gonna set up my tripod right here and let's get going. All right, check this shot. So I got the Milky Way core coming right off of that part of the butte. The composition is actually cool, right like that. I want to try real quick doing one of those Brady Bunch panos, where it's boom, 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 second tier, 3, top tier, 3, but usually about 4 or 5 going across, do the middle 4 and 5, then a top sky. I'm really glad that I captured it when I did because the clouds have moved in. The ones that you saw there at the bottom of the buttes. I said you're going to see this because that image is going to get overlaid. And that spot was starting to get some clouds. And it's getting windy on me. Now that those clouds are on top of the core. So glad I snagged the shot. Let's get out of here. Okay, so that unfortunately is the life of a Milky Way photographer, videographer. And let me just save this and close Premiere. The challenge is that you get a scenario very often that you want to go out, show people Milky Way photography, and you're in the dark all the way there. You didn't leave, 17 hours early to have this big, I woke up on location, look how beautiful it is, wow, oh man, look at this. You don't have that. You end up typically having the last 3 hours to get there in time, and all those 3 hours you're just driving, and it's not safe to hold a camera and be like, check out my driving. Sometimes I will put up a camera and do that, but for the most part, it looks the same in every video. I found that with the Milky Way chase as I was doing that every night. All my B-roll looked the same. Headlights hitting streets in the dark. And I started thinking that's just crap. Let's just forget about including any of that this time. And now my video is about 5 minutes long. So I'm going to add a few more things in there, do some talking in there, so when people see this video, get some context and have a chance to hear it. But I wanted to show you how that image turned out, and I'm looking in all the wrong places. Okay, found it. Found it, the Great Milky Way Chase Finals, boom. And I'm opening up a folder right now that has this picture. And it is out there, night 17. Where are you? This was a scenario that turned out okay, but it's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight that went really well in 2019 and poorly in this situation. This is an example of it going poorly. And that's the scenario of capturing something that has a different exposure for the sky and the ground. It's very possible, like in this example, for you to end up with a shot. Audio is out of sync. Yes, let's just go ahead and see if I can make that work, as it has 400 to 1800. Okay, let's hope that turned the audio on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those of you who've been through lives, you're familiar with me doing that thing over and over again. Happy birthday to Kirk's dad. See ya, Kirk. Thanks for joining this far. I'm almost out of here. John, I love the hoodie too. In fact, I'm going to get another one this year from the November is going to have a Black Friday sale. I'll put all the merchandise up there. And so it's a good time to get some hoodies from Photog Adventures. And so if you guys want to support us, go over there. We have a merchandise site, merch.photogadventures.com. I think I kept it merch, but you'll see the link at photogadventures.com. But checking out this picture, you can see how I really wanted to pull out the buttes, and it was not working. Do I have an image in here that shows an example of the buttes working? I don't think so. Looking in the image behind it, it's just the reality was my exposure of the foreground was halfway done. You really need to go for the gold. Don't just bring your ISO up high and get a 30-second exposure of the terrain. You'll get weird noise and weirdness. Minute-long plus exposures of the terrain with a different ISO setting or the exact ISO setting you capture with the sky can work terrifically. Point right. This is covering every time I get to that image. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to turn this off. This worked great. Right here. This worked terrific. This was a minute-long exposure for the foreground, and the sky was captured the same way I captured the sky that night. Beautiful because it's a panorama. Panoramas really make every little flaw go away because you just stitch those together, and a little bit of weirdness here, weirdness there. It can look terrific in that full image. And it just went well with getting that lower foreground. So in 2019, for the first time in my Milky Way career, I really got a long exposure and a different exposure sky together that worked. And I love this image. You guys have seen it too many times now because of I loving it. But in 2020, I'll get some more, and I even have a Crater Lake image that I'm working on right now. So 2019, what actually went very well was the fact that I was able to learn and mesh and make a nice connection with a long exposure foreground, a regular sky exposure sky, and put them together in a natural looking way. And the reason why this worked, I did it at Crater Lake with the blue hour, I did it with a night hour, and the problem is when you get such an extreme difference between the sky and the ground, you see it. It's very weird where you connect those two halves. And so you want to get a connection, an exposure that just works for looking like it's fitting underneath the sky. And this area, the way I'm looking over this big vista and looking down on something that's not reflective, it's just rock, and I'm pulling out the most detail, and it's very low light pollution. It works very well. So I'm going to be going through and doing examples of these and talking about these on future videos that are pre-produced that are going to talk about how it worked, what went well, what didn't go well, and how we can recreate this more often in our Milky Way shots. So before I go too long, it's already hit 7:32. I want to get to our discussion. And this first email comes from Eugene Louis, and I am needing to block his information. or I'll just read it here. I don't want to give away his email address, basically. And I got Jeff's, and I got Jeff and Jeff. I think it was Jeff Loads and Jeff Sargent. Or is it Dave Sargent? I got his stuff blocked already, but Eugene had a new email from a few days ago, and so I wanted to make sure I include him. And he has his phone number, and so I don't want to include that. So, where are you going? Oh, the paste was just pasting the file again. Okay, email blocked, phone number blocked. I can put his website up. I don't care. His Instagram up. Let's do it. Okay, awesome. Haha, done. And now let's do some Milky Way Wednesday emails because this is the last one. I got to cover this. Oh, it just disappeared. I went to go full screen and it just decided to disappear. Did it just go to a different window? Probably. But Eugene says, thanks for challenging us to keep photographing the night sky during the Milky Way off-season. Recently, I shot this scene at Mobius Arch looking north. First, I thought the triangle of stars I captured was the winter triangle, but after Googling, I discovered that there is also a summer triangle. Would you please identify what I photographed? Thanks for all your hard work producing Photog Adventures. Okay, I'll just go ahead away from the awesome stuff. You can check out Eugene Louie's work at Eugene Louie at Instagram. Well, let's look at his picture. And, I want to go off of this. Let's go ahead and go to the chat because I don't want to show that screen. Looks like I'm showing everything. There we go. All right, boom. Here we go. Here's his Mobius Arch shot, and he has that obvious triangle. And that triangle is exactly the triangle of the summer triangle with Altair, not Altair, as I like to say Altair because it's awesome to say it Italian. Altair, Deneb. Oh, no, I'm not remembering. Vega, Deneb, and Altair, right? Or Altair. And so these three stars, they're on the horizon, they're on the Milky Way arch in the center. And so throughout the whole year and the summer going into the fall and into the winter, you see them in the sky, but they're most prominent up at the zenith in the summer. They get called the summer triangle, but you can still see them even now, and you can see them even in December, at like the very early weeks and days of December. You can see them on the horizon right after sunset. Then they, at least one of the stars, if not three of them, are under the horizon, depending on your northern latitude. So these three stars right here, they absolutely look like it because you have these two stars that are right on top of the core, and if you follow them from Altair to Deneb, you can go right to it. This high one, which is typically way high in the sky, that's right through Mobius Arch, is Vega. And so that's a very high magnitude star. They're bright, they stand out, and it's not a constellation. It's a pattern of stars, but not considered a constellation. It's an asterism. And so that's what Eugene brought up. So now let's talk Jeff's question. And Jeff's question is, hey, Aaron, hope this is the right address. Yeah, milkywaywednesday@gmail.com. Jeff says he's a rank 3 novice Milky Way photographer still fighting with focus. And the biggest thing with focus, he asked me, what's some tips? He talks about going down to Big Arizona, Big AZ, to go and catch a shot in the mountain range, Lake of Montana. Here's a ghost town in Nevada that he's captured, and it's one of his favorite stops on his trips, but it's just, you can see what he's talking about. It's a challenge, and you guys have all probably come across this same challenge of getting that focus. There are different reasons why we miss our focus. Quick, lazy, thinking we have it because our screen has everything so small we can't tell that they're out of focus. And sometimes you and I have different eyesight, and we have different challenges seeing what's on the back of the screen, whether it's just too low of a contrast object on the viewfinder. If you're looking at the LCD screen and it still just is looking so dim, you can't really tell. If you don't have vision that's awesome at night, let's go ahead and exit those pages. If you don't have things that are working awesome at night, then you're going to, I'm saying the vision not working awesome at night, you're going to have a hard time seeing it, so turn your brightness on your LCD screen up. But the biggest thing, and my absolute favorite recommendation, is the Carson LumiLoop, which I neglected to grab and put on the table. But that little guy, because you can zoom in with your camera on the digital screen, but then you can add into that zoom with an added magnifying glass that you put right on top of it, and it's so easy to do. After that, my next tip would be, if you look at your images and you're taking shots, you're changing your focus, take a shot, change your focus, take a shot, and you're curious which one's in and which one's out of focus, let me show you the screen behind us. This image here of just stars. You'll see on your LCD screen when you capture a shot. See, there's the summer triangle right there. Vega, Altair, Deneb, or this is Altair and this is Deneb. Yeah, this is Deneb, Altair, and Vega. I hope I'm not wrong with Deneb. I'm pretty sure it's Deneb. But this view has a sea of equally sized stars. If you look at your screen and you are popping, you're seeing different magnitudes and it's very obvious, absolutely out of focus. When you go a little out of focus, the higher magnitude stars blur bigger and they blur more prominently. And so when you start seeing that stars are standing out from other stars, I mean, this stands out, but when you look at the sea of stars, all very uniform. If you see anything but a uniform sandy sea of stars, you're out of focus. And so if you got some popping out, some here, most likely you get that focus a little tighter and take it again, you'll see the difference. You'll see it right away. And in my ebook, I'm going to show pictures of this and show the examples of how you can recognize it on the back of your screen and go, okay, yeah, I'm definitely better now. I can see that it went to a sea of stars. I'm within the range of awesome. There's a lot of different focus ranges that you can succeed at. You can succeed here on this part of the range and succeed here on this part of the range. You know, it's got a subjective middle, whether it's awesome or not. And so, Jeff, you just need to get into that subjective middle that everyone kind of hangs around in. And if you can get yourself to the point to where you see those stars as a sandy sea of similar sized dots, you know you've got it. And a Carson Lumiloop, if you don't already have one of those, get a Carson Lumiloop, $5, Amazon. I'll add it to the description of this video down below. So I do need to end soon, and let's just end it now because I have a really cool question coming from Dave Sargent, and let me show you it because Dave Sargent talks about star trackers, specifically a question for Eric Benedetti. And Dave, I have a clip of Eric talking about this, and I also wanted to get him to join me, and I could not make that happen. And so for a polished, pre-recorded, quality video, I think it'd be better if I go ahead and get Eric to answer this. But he talks about trying to start track when Polaris goes missing. I'm sure if David was here right now, Dodge Shadow Chick is Mary Beth. Look at her comment. She'll answer right now probably. When I can't see Polaris, how do I get my star tracker aligned, polar aligned? And what is Eric's tip for that and how does he handle it? He explains it in our Star Tracker workshop that he did, the online course that we have. And so I can pull something from that, include it in a video and teach it and help you guys out with that. Also, pull Eric over here and have some fun hanging out with him. So David Sargent is a to be answered. It's coming. Now, I have my iPad over here. I'm going to turn that off because of the timing. Milky Way Wednesday and Milky Way photography YouTube videos will return February in the new season. I want to go back to Chris Whiting's comment and see if it's anything I need to answer. Chris says, we need a tutorial on extracting the goods from the other winter end of Milky Way. You're right. The Milky Way doesn't die. We have that whole beautiful side from there over that we're seeing it. Just that core goes down below. So let's do some more tutorials on that. I agree, Chris. Let's go for it. His Scorpius Arch pan was just oof. He still looked okay as the pano, though. See, I think he's agreeing with what I was saying earlier, where panoramas just fix things. You have a lot of data. You have a lot of image, you kind of pull out from it, and you get to enjoy all of it. May New Moon says, guessing gives me good results. Guessing for his polar alignment or her polar alignment. Ioptron has an app for declination. And Jeff says, thanks, Aaron. You're welcome, Jeff. Absolutely, man. So glad to have you on here. Jasper, actually. Boutenhouse. Jasper, are you from the Netherlands? Boutenhouse. Bouten the house. Awesome. I love that last name. Jasper says, do you yourself have a star tracker and which one? I do not own one, and the one I will get is the Skywatcher Star Adventure. That one's fantastic. Eric Benedetti recommends it, and he's a master at star tracking photography. And so going with the Skywatch Star Adventure would be perfect for me with the Astro package and the what does he say? It has the declination wedge something on there. Also, just check out the podcast, Photog Adventures podcast. You see the SoundCloud, you'll see the show notes, or go to photogadventures.com and find the Eric Benedetti episode. I think it's somewhere around 18. It's somewhere around 18 and 30 something is Eric Benedetti's lesson. And Eric Benedetti's lesson on star tracking has a link for all the gear that he uses. So Jasper, you can check it. Yes, sir. He's from the Netherlands. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to jump into my Dutch without having any practice. Just got to think it in my head, turn myself on to the Dutch dialect, pretend I'm back in Leiden. Hoe gaat het, jongen? Is goed, hè? Ja, Jasper. Hoe spreek je dat? Jasper? Jasper Buitenhuis. Ik heb in Nederland gewoond voor 3 jaar en oefent in Nederlands veel te, okay, niet vaak. Not often. Man, I can't even pull out enough of it. But Jasper, love the Dutch. I will dream in Dutch all the time. And I have a conversational Dutch. And then I went there for school to study Latin and Greek. And I was learning Latin through a Dutch professor at Leiden, in the Universiteit Leiden. So it was awesome. That was when my Dutch was at its best. Fantastic. Steve Thompson says, thanks, Aaron. I've learned a lot in my first season. Yes, absolutely. Kathy's answering the question for you. David, if you're here and you look at the replay of this, you can see the chat and you can see Kathy's answer. Find your latitude on maps, use compass to find north, yada yada. Chris says, I've gotten acceptable polar alignment by setting latitude on using a compass, wide field of view only. Yeah, if you're tracking tight, it would be much more difficult to get away with any inconsistencies or incorrect. Hoe gaat het? Is goed. Heel goed. I love the name Joop, and I wanted to use that for one of my kids, but it did not work. Wel, weinig. Ja, weinig. Ik heb het geoefend, weinig. Ik heb het weinig geoefend. Man, dang it. I just want to talk Dutch now, but that's not a good thing to do on an English channel. And I'm not speaking it perfectly, but I'm okay. He probably hears that I have some skill. I'm so impressed. I live close to Leiden. Oh, awesome. Man, every time I think of close to Leiden, I can go to Katwijk and I can go to Den Haag. I don't know if you're talking about somewhere that close or just saying Haarlem. I lived in Haarlem or something. But yep, wide angle. So before I just talk Dutch and hang out with Jasper the rest of this Milky Way Wednesday, I want to thank you guys for following Milky Way Wednesday. I have content and things to teach, things that go well and things that I just totally blow. And I'm going to tell you why I blew it. Like with my Mary Beth example, how she did an awesome picture and I did a crappy picture. I'm going to share those things honestly with you guys continually on the channel. The season comes to an end. I'll be back in February. I have a few videos that I'm working on that will trickle out over the next few months, but focusing mostly on writing and focusing mostly on courses. So the podcast, if you've already followed the Photog Adventures podcast, you will hear from me every week. And those of you who are paying attention, I've moved the days to Friday. I got to move the release day to Friday. And every Thursday night, it'll be out there and you'll have it Friday morning. So look for that coming up this Friday. So I have a couple episodes coming out this week because I have one behind. So you guys keep up with me through podcast, through the Facebook group, our Facebook listeners group, and especially keep up with us over at MilkyWayPhotographers.com. I have to share that right now. MilkyWayPhotographers.com. We have some awesome content and awesome articles, and it's just getting better, as well as the team there is working on doing a little bit of a Milky Way-centric podcast. And so that is going to be awesome, something that they can do for patrons, and it is going to be a blast to support the site, support the MilkyPhotographers.com website, and keep it coming, and you guys can earn your ranks and achievements. And I've got some plans to make that even easier. Rhonda, Mary Beth, Kathy, I've been with you guys a lot in person. Love you guys. And it's funny how 2 of them come from Chicago. We have so many Chicago connections. Love all you guys. Thanks so much for following Photog Adventures. Thanks so much for being with me all this time. And those of you who are coming out on workshops, I would be a very bad person if I didn't say, hey, check out my Milky Way workshops. Go to workshops.photogadventures.com and you can see the ones that are still available. If you're going to the Nightscaper conference, I need to remind those of you who might wonder, I added a new night for North Rim. A lot of people wanted to go to North Rim. I had not enough space to go on May 20th, so we're adding the May 19th. And so if you want to come to North Rim, I have 6 spots left of the 10 already. So now that I've opened it up, you can go there, workshops.photogadventures.com, and join me May 19th out in Kanab and go down to North Rim at the Grand Canyon and capture a Milky Way that I told you, exposure for the ground long, different exposure for the sky, panorama over the Grand Canyon. That is going to be an awesome shot. And 3 of you on here right now are joining me for that, so I can't wait. And you're welcome, Jasper. Oh, bedankt hoor? No, that's what you say. Graag gedaan. Graag gedaan, jongen. I say jongen, but I don't know. You could be older than me or younger than me. I don't care. I just like saying jongen. What's up, man? What's up, jongen? So thanks, guys. I need to stop Aaron. This is why the lives couldn't keep going, because I could talk to you guys for 3 hours. But love you. Have a good night. Get out there and capture the Milky Way. Don't hesitate. Keep coming back to Photog Adventures YouTube channel for short, tight, nice, well-produced tips and tricks. And you can always contact me at milkywaywednesday@gmail.com. Love you guys. The tired photographer is saying goodnight and saying goodbye. Hello, everyone. Finally, I'm able to be here while the show is live, just that I'm leaving. Maybe you've been here the whole time. That's awesome. You were good at Dutch, he says. Hey, Jasper says I'm actually okay at Dutch. I had it pretty well at one point and a lot of things wrong, just bad grammar, but that's okay. I was learning. It's having fun. Ja, zeker. Laten we gaan. Goedenavond. Allerbeste. Ik hou van jullie allemaal. En doei. Dag. See you guys. Have a good one. Get out for the Milky Way. Woohoo!